Hey there, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about something you might have actually seen right in your own neighborhood, this weird trend of local vet and dental clinics suddenly changing hands. So picture this. You walk up to your local vet, right? The one you've known for years, and bam, there's a new, kind of corporate-looking logo on the door. Or maybe your dentist's office suddenly has a different name above the entrance. Well, if that sounds familiar, you're definitely not imagining things. And there's a very specific and pretty fascinating reason why it's happening all over the country. All right, so what's really going on here? Who is this new name on the door? Let's pull back the curtain and see who's behind all these changes. Well, it turns out the answer almost always leads back to one place: private equity firms. Now, these are basically investment companies that specialize in buying businesses with the goal of making them more valuable and then selling them for a profit a few years down the line. And right now, small local healthcare practices are squarely in their crosshairs. But here's the thing. These firms aren't just buying up one clinic here and there. Nope. They have a very specific master plan that they're executing. A strategy that's almost perfectly designed for these kinds of industries. It's a strategy they call a roll-up, or sometimes you'll hear it called buy and build. And the idea behind it is actually pretty straightforward. You take a whole bunch of small independent companies and you literally roll them up into one single, much larger, and hopefully much more valuable entity. So here's the playbook, step by step. First, the firm buys one solid, successful practice. They call this the platform. Then they start buying up smaller clinics in the area, and these are called bolt-ons. They merge all the behind-the-scenes stuff, like billing and scheduling, and create one big, unified company that's way more efficient. Okay, so that brings us to the big question, right? Why vets? Why dentists? What is it about these specific businesses that makes them such a perfect target for this roll-up strategy? Well, it turns out they have three key ingredients that make them pretty much irresistible to an investor. First up, and this is a huge one, is stability. These clinics are what investors like to call recession-resistant. What that means is people keep spending money there, even when the economy gets a little shaky. The revenue is just incredibly predictable. I mean, just take a look at this. When times get tough, what do? We cut back on the fun stuff, right? Like big vacations or fancy gadgets. But what don't we cut? Taking our dog to the vet when he's sick or getting a toothache checked out. That kind of steady, reliable cash flow is an absolute dream for an investor, especially if they've borrowed money to make these deals happen. So, they're stable. That's ingredient number one. Ingredient number two has everything to do with the way the whole market is set up. It's what we call highly fragmented. This chart really says it all, doesn't it? The vast majority of these places are just small, independent shops, maybe run by one vet or a couple of partners. There aren't a lot of big national chains. Now, for a company trying to do that roll-up strategy we talked about, this is a gold mine. It means there are literally thousands of potential small businesses out there for them to acquire and bolt on to their platform. And the third ingredient, this one is probably the most important of all. It's a bit of a delicate point, but it's crucial. These clinics are often run by absolutely brilliant vets and dentists, people who are incredible at caring for patients, but who aren't necessarily trained business managers. They're clinicians first, and the business side of things can sometimes be a little inefficient. And that is exactly where the private equity firm sees its biggest opportunity. By bringing all these small practices together, they can unlock something super powerful called economies of scale. It's basically the simple idea that doing things in bulk is way, way cheaper and more efficient. So, what does that actually look like? Well, you get one central office handling all the billing and HR. You get massive discounts on supplies because you're buying for 100 clinics, not just one. You can afford sophisticated marketing teams and cutting-edge technology that a single small practice could only dream of. It's all about professionalizing the business side of the operation. Okay, so I know what this might sound like, just a big corporate takeover, right? But the way this deal is usually structured, and the reason so many owners agree to it, is that it's often presented as a true win-win for everybody involved. Let's take a look at why. So think about it from the clinic owner's side, say a vet who's been running her own practice for 30 years. This deal is a huge relief. She gets to hand off all the headaches, the payroll, the marketing, the insurance paperwork, and just get back to doing the things she actually loves, taking care of animals. Plus, it's a fantastic way for her to cash out and fund her retirement. And for the private equity firm, well, the win is obvious. They get to bring in their business expertise, make the whole operation more profitable, and build a really valuable company they can sell later on. So you can see the financial logic here is pretty powerful. It makes a lot of sense on paper. But it does leave us with a really important question to chew on. As this trend continues and more of our local spots become part of these giant consolidated networks, what does that really mean for us? For the cost, the quality, and that personal feel of the care we and our pets receive? It's definitely something to think about.